Hello, everybody. We are here speaking on behalf of the DRA Carpenter effort. We're using the SIG Autoscaling Zoom meeting and YouTube channel. We are meeting on behalf of the CNCF. So just a quick reminder to be kind and respectful and inclusive. And without further ado, Jason, you do have an agenda item, so I will go ahead and give you the floor.
Yeah, so I think this is what I think is one of the big milestones we'll have to hit before we can start doing development for the feature, which is how do we integrate DRA testing into our Qwak E2E tests? So we use Qwak for all of our upstream tests, basically that way that people don't need to actually set up, whether it's an AWS cluster, Azure cluster, etc. And they can test all of the upstream Carpenter code in a Qwak cluster or a kind cluster with Qwak without needing to incur massive cloud bills launching thousands of instances. So this is the framework we have in place, but with the existing, I guess, ET components that I've been able to find for DRA, like the upstream, the in-tree test driver, along with like the DRA example driver, they're both built assuming you have a kubelet and
Yeah.
using the kubelet plugin, which makes sense for that use case. Um,
So
but Qwak,
can I just interrupt just in case Alima isn't aware of Qwak? So Qwak,
yeah.
are you aware of Qwak, Alima? If you are, then I'll stand down.
I just know it's Kubernetes without a kubelet, right?
Yeah,
So
cool. So
Yep.
like as Jason said, it allows you to game out scenarios like 20,000 nodes realistically without having to spend tens of thousands of dollars and wait a long time to get results.
it doesn't actually like provision it.
Yeah, so you're creating node objects, but there's no backing instance and there's no backing kubelet process. So when you have these DRA drivers, which implement their kubelet plugin, there's no kubelet calling out to them.
Mhm.
So
I think
we,
so. This is a great, I agree. This is super important and great that we're thinking about it at the very beginning. I think I can take an action item right away to just reach out to the various DRA folks and uh, get a sense of the scope of what a DRA Qwak test would look like, if it's possible,
Mhm.
if it's going to require a ton of hacks.
Yeah, I
I don't know
think,
enough about Qwak to guesstimate, but I would, from what I know, I would think it's possible to do this.
yeah, I mean, so the way I'm looking at it is like resource slices, for example, you're not tracking the allocations on a resource slice level. So we don't need the kubelet plugin to be handling allocation tracking for that. My understanding is really we just need something to create the resource slice. And then that resource slice will have a node selector to basically allow our scheduler to target it to a specific set of nodes. So as long as we have some process that's creating the resource slices, we don't need a kubelet plugin, at least is my understanding.
Yeah, I think
So,
node selector is probably not the exact term for the relationship between a resource slice and a node. More something more like a node reference. But
well,
I
it can be a node selector, right? For like the multi-node case.
is that how it's implemented?
I believe it's basically node selector terms. I can't
Okay,
remember the
cool.
exact manifest off the top of my head. Like you have different options. There's like the all node option, there's single node option, which would be just, yeah, give me a node reference. And then there
Yeah,
is a node selector option. I don't know if it's literally the same as a node selector, like a node affinity term,
it
but
should
it's a
be if it
similar
is.
construct.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So then I agree the workflow would be to create a resource slice that references a node, and that could be synthetic to a certain extent.
Yep.
And then what we want to do is we want to see Carpenter, we want to see an end-to-end workflow where like a workload arrives declaring DRA scheduling criteria, and then we want to follow that pod until it gets a node reference. So the kube scheduler essentially says this is the node you go on to. I don't
Mhm.
know exactly how clumsy it would be because obviously a Qwak node isn't going to be able to actually schedule a workload, but the workload isn't going to care about that. It's just going to, if we see that that Carpenter built a new node that references a resource slice that fulfills the claims in the workflow and test scenario, I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm not 100% confident we are, but based on my reading at least, um, I think that should be good. So my thought is, I mean, we could just create the resource slices ourselves inside an E2E test, but I think it does make sense to have a separate process that can automate this for us just for manual testing, both for reducing like the amount of work you need to do in your individual E2E tests, along with being able to do more like automated manual testing. Like you can say, like any node I create that matches this shape should have a resource claim associated with it, or sorry, not a resource claim, a resource slice. And this controller will automate the provisioning of it, automate the deletion of it when the node is tore down, etc.
Cool.
So I think that's one of the items that isn't very dependent on how we actually construct DRA support in Carpenter. So is something that we could potentially start working on a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's going to make actual implementation and development a lot easier once we have this in place. And a lot cheaper than spinning up a bunch of GPU instances.
Indeed. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will maybe even by the end of today, maybe I'll have some answer. Maybe I'll reach out to some folks and just see how plausible this would be.
Yeah, that'd be great. I have some ideas for what this could look like too, but it would be great if someone's already thought this through and there was some prior art that we could piggyback off of.
Yeah,
That would be
indeed.
fantastic.
Cool. And so here's a bullet point about Damon overhead test. Is that
Yeah,
also oh, that's you, Alima?
yeah, Jason just left a comment on the like don't schedule pod if it's DRA enabled. Um and it was just for the tests for the daemon overhead. I was just confirming this. Like this is what the test is should look like. Like if we have the flag as true, which is like by default, so we're ignoring the DRA pods. It's also we would check the daemon set pods, and if they have like DRA requirements, then we would not include them in the daemon overhead.
Right.
Okay, I was just verifying that.
Yeah, so the way this test
Oh
could
yeah,
look
that's
is
another bit of
like,
accounting. I see.
yeah, if you have a DRA pod with DRA requests, and you just make it like have pretty big CPU or memory requests to coerce it to go on to a different node or a different instance type. And so you know that if we included that daemon set pod in the counts, or yeah, if we included that daemon set pod in the daemon set overhead, we assume that we'll create a larger instance. And if we didn't, we'd create a smaller instance. So that's typically how we go about doing those types of tests. Because daemon set overhead isn't something that's like persisted to the node claim or something you can directly test for.
Hold on. Sorry, I was trying to look at the daemon set functions. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, the gist of how we typically test for this is if you make like a daemon set overhead with, or sorry, if you make a daemon set pod, or I guess just a daemon set with high CPU memory requests, basically you can make the assumption of if Carpenter includes this daemon set in the daemon set overhead, then I'm going to land onto a larger instance than I would have otherwise. So you can do this check just by checking like, did I land on a small instance or did I land on a large instance? If I landed on the smaller instance, I know I excluded it because the flag was enabled. And if I land on the big instance, I know I included it because the flag was disabled. It's an indirect way of testing it, but that's kind of the result of daemon set overhead just not being something we persist anywhere. It's just a in-memory concept.
Yes. Sounds good. That makes sense. Okay.
Okay, cool. Any more agenda?
Not planned, I think.
Wait, I'm sorry, I just thought of something. Like, can't we just check like the actual CPU? Like resource CPU or something like that? Instead of like this roundabout way of like diddling out.
No,
I mean, we can do this too, but like,
no, you could also do that. Yeah, because it should affect. Yeah, that's probably a little bit less indirect.
yeah, okay.
I assume we're in. These questions are all. I'm inferring here. I haven't read the PR in a while, but I assume that Alima, this new ignore DRA requests feature has inherited unit test requirements for that include the statement set test, and that
Yeah,
we're trying to figure out how to fulfill those existing unit test scenarios with this new flag.
yeah. So uh I already added unit test. It's just I forgot to I didn't think about adding a test for daemon overhead. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That
So,
is the way I'm describing it sort of true, Jason? We just want to make sure that we
well, no
populate all the
existing.
existing unit tests that intersect with this functional change with the
I
new
mean, there was
coverage.
no existing test that broke because there wasn't a test for daemon set overhead with this flag enabled. So it's just making sure that we have a test with this
Yeah,
flag
for sure.
enabled
No,
for
that
daemon set
yeah, we're
overhead.
saying the same thing. Yeah, we're saying the same
Okay,
thing.
yeah. Yeah, basically just making sure we have full test coverage. So,
100%.
which, yeah, with this, we should.
Perfect. Yeah,
So,
I think I can get that done by today. So I'll just ping you. Um, yeah.
okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah, I
By the
guess.
way, welcome, Timoteo. Thanks for joining. If you're listening, that's great. If you have something that you'd love to discuss, we're here too.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I just got the what's it called? I got the link from. Sorry, please let me just pull up my video just so you can. Uh, yeah. So yeah, hi. Yeah, good afternoon. Oh, is morning over there. So like I was,
It's afternoon
yeah.
for me at least.
Yeah,
Same.
I actually put like the challenges I was facing on the signal channel. I mean on the carpenter or signal channel. So then when I got this what do you call this meeting, I decided to join and see what it looks like. Yeah, it's nice meeting you all.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's good here.
likewise. Yep.
Welcome.
Yeah.
We're here every week just to kind of in real time game out the effort for DRA. It's probably going to be it'll be a long effort. So but we
So
just set
like
a separate channel to discuss this apart from the community channel so we can go into greater detail.
okay, so the thing is like I'm actually like a bit confused as regards like the whole thing. Like, is it like you are the team managing the carpenter, if I get that correctly?
Well, in a way, Jason's one of the maintainers for Karpenter, and I'm a SIG Autoscaling tech lead. Um, and we are trying to integrate the new Kubernetes DRA API into Karpenter. And I work with Alima, so it's a sort of like anybody can join kind of thing.
Oh, okay, okay. So myself, I'm a backend engineer and I also double as a DevOps engineer as well. So like it's not like well, however, I'm open to like work on any project if there is any task I can work with. But one thing I feel is that is the what's it called? The project is written in Go, right?
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, I don't write Go. I write Node.js, and I have a bit of knowledge of Go, but not that intense. I'm more into Python and Python Node.js and DevOps. So, but if there is
Mhm.
any way I
It's
could contribute, I will. I will be willing to do that voluntarily. So if there's any way I could come in, or if there's any way my skill is useful, so I'll be happy to help.
Yeah, I
Those
mean,
kind
if you're interested
yeah.
in contributing, we have a good first issue label on the GitHub. So if you just filter issues by good first issues, these are ones that we've kind of pointed out. Like this would be a good thing for someone who's interested in getting involved with the project to contribute to. And then of course, like the Carpenter Slack channel is also a good place to ask for advice, ask for like issues if you find an issue you're interested in working on and you need any feedback on like what approach or um, stuff like that, the Carpenter Dev Slack channel is a good place to find that.
Okay, no problem. I'll look out for any if there's anyone I can look into and tackle. I definitely will do that.
okay. Welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, cool. Well, we'll check in on Slack between now and next week. Otherwise, see folks next week.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you.
Okay, be well.
Bye.
All right.
Bye bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye.